What's good, everybody? It's Joe Mama here, the coach of the Tennessee Cetitans in the VDL Season 4 Draft League, and I'm going to be showcasing the team that I drafted in this video. So first off, I started with Incineroar. Very good mon, has access to Intimidate plus Parting Shot, which is a deadly combo in lowering the stats of the enemy Pokemon. I picked him because of his versatility. I like the fact that he has a bunch of not just coverage moves, but strong coverage moves in the likes of Earthquake, Close Combat, we got Iron Head as well, Leech Life, Outrage even. So we have a bunch of coverage moves, and he has a very strong attacking stat. And that coupled with Parting Shot really kind of goes into my team's game plan of facilitating sweeps and getting some setup mons in to deal some big damage to the opponent. Some sets you could run involve kind of a support set using like Parting Shot, Will-O-Wisp, even Knockoff, or running kind of a choice set with Parting Shot plus 3 attacks. Excuse me. There are merits to both, but yeah, I'm very excited about using this mod. Never used it before, but I've seen the devastation it can cause, and especially since this is a low tier draft league, meaning that every mon is 12 points or below, I can just see Incineroar doing even better in this type of environment. So, yep, Incineroar is my first pick. And then I went for Starmie. And as you can see here, I kind of got the beginnings of a Fire, Water, Grass core, which is a premier defensive core in Pokemon. So yeah, Starmie is my second pick. Once again, I feel like flexibility is in the name of the game with my team. Starmie can be run many ways. He has 2 viable abilities in Natural Cure and Analytic. Analytic kind of more leaning on like an offensive Starmie, while Natural Cure is more kind of like a pivot, flip turn-esque Starmie. But yeah, so this mon can run stuff like Flip Turn. It can run Scald. It can run Rapid Spin. It's one of the best Rapid Spinners in the league because, like I said, because the top tier Rapid Spinners have been removed as they are above 12 points. So we have Flip Turn, Scald, Rapid Spin. You can run a +1 attack, or you can run something to the likes of, where is it? Need to find it. Oh, yeah. Recover. Yeah, anyways. So I feel like, once again, this Pokemon is really good defensively in the sense that it can Scald Burn a lot of Pokemon. It can switch out. It can Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards. And you have built-in recovery, which is obviously amazing. So in this type of set, you'd probably want to run Natural Cure. And in the more offensive sets where you run, your Hydro Pumps, right, your Ice Beams and stuff like that, you can kind of go for more an analytic build. And then this Pokemon can even run kind of like a trick set with like Choice Specs, Trick, to kind of heavily threaten setup mons in more stally defensive teams, I guess, as well. So yeah, this mon kind of has, you'll kind of see a kind of a common theme, I guess, with the upper tier mons in this league, but many viable and completely like deferring and viable uses, in the sense that it can be used in both kind of support and attacking. But yeah, this mon is kind of a more budget pick that I picked next. Really has one like legitimate role. That's Mega Audino, which is kind of like a wish, wish passer, heal bell. What was it? Dazzling. And then you can run Wish Heal Bell like 2 attacks. You can have like Hyper Voice or Dazzling Gleam for stab. But you can also run, and this definitely is kind of deviating from the beaten path, I guess, and for a reason. I don't think it's like insanely good, but you can catch people off guard with some Calm Mind Wish sets, for the healing, and then once again just running 2 attacks. And because his HP defense and special defense stats are really good. If you get a few Calm Minds off uninterrupted, the opponent might be in some trouble. They might struggle to break through this Pokemon. Like I mentioned earlier, very bulky, and because it's a bulky fairy in particular, that's very helpful, as bulky fairies are pretty notorious for being not auto inclusions on team, but like they're very well looked upon, I guess, in the scope of competitive Pokemon. So I have Audino there. Very excited to use that mon. Next we have probably my favorite mon in the draft. We have Machamp. Machamp has two incredible abilities, in my opinion. We got the standard kind of Flame Ward Guts, which you are pretty much just going, full on attack with this, and you're running stuff like Facade. You can run kind of a like Bullet Punch for priority, close combat for stab. You're just kind of running a bunch of heavy hitting moves. You can run a fourth move if you want. You can run Bulk Up. You can run Curse. It depends what you really want, right? And what is nice with this set, because you get the inherent Guts boost from Flame Orb, you can kind of like do a bunch of damage. Switch out to Audino. Audino can wish wish this thing back up to full because it has a really good base HP in 103. And yeah, it can get this guy back up to be healthy and for him to start swinging at things again. So he's kind of just a big beat stick in that sense. But this is my favorite set that I used to play this set a lot when I played like DPP OU. I don't think most people like the set because it's kind of scammy and a lot of people think it's really cringe, but I like it because I think it's funny and it's like just such a cool use, I guess, of a move that's like never used outside of this scenario. And it's a no guard build with like Dynamic Punch, and then like Stone Edge or other really powerful moves, and kind of the way this interaction works is Dynamic Punch, for people that don't know, is a 100 base power fighting type move, and it has a 100% chance to confuse the target, which obviously is really good. And the reason it's not used on every Machamp set is 50 accuracy, which makes the move unusable, to be honest. It's terrible. But the ability No Guard allows every move used by Machamp or against Machamp, which I guess is like the downside, it will always hit. So effectively, Dynamic Punch is 100% accuracy. So you're getting guaranteed confusions on a 100 base power move, which is quite insane. And then you can just run a fourth move. You can run Encore. You can run like kind of a support move like Knockoff. I really do like this. I'm really actually a huge fan of defensive like Dynamic Punch Machamp. So you're kind of more basing this Pokemon's worth off kind of like, getting the confusions off, using Knockoff, crippling the opponent, right? And then Audino can come in and heal it. And then I have another Mon that I drafted that kind of furthers his strategy as well. But yeah, Machamp's a really fun Pokemon, and I'm glad I get to use it in this draft league. After this, I have Liepard. This is one of my Terra Captains, a 3-point Mon. Has some downsides, but once again, I feel like with your 3-point Mons, that's expected, and I feel like for its value as a lot of upside, to be honest. It has Prankster, which is one of the greatest abilities in Pokemon, allowing its status moves to have priority. I guess the downside is that it doesn't work on Dark types. So your status moves won't affect Dark type Pokemon. But once again, because you have the team preview, because you know the possible Pokemon the enemy's using, you can kind of know when it's safe to use it and when not to, right? But yeah, it actually has some really good moves to kind of abuse Prankster with this. T-Wave, it has Encore, it has Trick as well. And the cool thing with Trick in particular is you can run really any of these choice items and it be viable because Liepard's attack and special attack are the exact same stat. So you can run a bunch of different types of sets of this Pokemon. And weirdly enough, I didn't really know until looking at this Pokemon before drafting it. it has some crazy moves that I just didn't know it had. It can learn Gunk Shot, which is crazy. I guess this is kind of a good time to mention that one of his Terra typings is Poison, the other two being Fairy and obviously Dark, because you have to have one Terra cap or one of your Terra types to be, your stab type, right? But yeah, Gunk Shot's a thing with this Pokemon, which is pretty crazy. It can learn Play Rough, it can learn Psycho Cut for some, and Seed Bomb for some coverage. Sucker Punch obviously is really good, especially if you Terra Dark Sucker Punch. That's like a lot of damage. You can have U-Turn for pivoting, and on the special attacking side, you have less, I feel, viable coverage options, but you do have the added benefit of having Nasty Plot. So that's just like another thing that this Pokemon can do, right? And that's not even the end of it. So that's like just the Prankster kind of setup. This Pokemon also has Unburden, which for those that don't know, when its held item is used, it doubles in speed. So this can be really good because there is a Tapu Bulu player in the league who will definitely be, obviously using Grassy Terrain as like a key component in their team. So having Grassy Seed on this Pokemon can allow me to first, bolster my defenses a bit, but also it just makes my Lightbird faster than every single one of his Pokemon. And then Tapu Bulu is a Grass and Fairy type, and for those keeping track, that is 4 times weak to Poison. And if I hit it with the Gunk Shot, it will surely die. And I'll outspeed it, obviously, because Unburden would proc. So, pretty good counter for that. It's taking care of one of the best Pokemon in that Grassy Terrain team with a 3-pointer is pretty cool. And it's not like it's just like a one-trick, one matchup kind of Pokemon. Like, there are other things I can do with it. But those are kind of the main things, I'd say. But yeah, anyways, enough of that. Let me get rid of these mons so we can see the rest of my team. But yeah, moving on to the next one. This is the Pokemon. I guess this and Machamp are like the coolest Pokemon I feel I'm drafting, and it's Oricorio. And drafting Oricorio in Draft League means you have access to all 4 forms, which is essentially getting like another Terra Captain, which is like sweet and kind of cool. And it's not just for this gimmick that I drafted this Pokemon, because kind of how I alluded to earlier, I wanted a solid setup sweeper, and boy, is this a solid setup sweeper. Let's look at this. Game Freak did a little oopsie printing this move. Quiver Dance, I don't know what they were thinking when they, got together and like unanimously, I mean not unanimously, but like, a group of people came together and were like, yeah, this is like a good move to make. It raises 3 stats, all of which are like meaningful, like non-negligible stats, right? So this move allows for 2 really good sets for Oricorio. You can run kind of like a 3-attack Quiver Dance, where you can max out on special attack and speed. And obviously, for those who don't know, he has a signature move called Revelation Dance, and what it does is the type of this move is based on the form of your Oricorio. So for this particular Oricorio form, it would be an electric type attack, which is pretty cool. So, and yeah, sure, we'll just give him these 3 attacking moves, and you just kind of max out on special attack, and then obviously speed to whatever you need it to be, based on the team you're facing and the rest into HP. But yeah, this Pokemon, given the opportunity to set up, can do some crazy stuff. And because it has this little special defense buff, this is really cool. It kind of can make this set viable, where you run kind of a bulkier, Oricorio. You kind of run a Quiver Dance to boost special defense. You already have high HP and high defense. And then you're boosting your speed and special attack too. You can roost up to recover and keep setting up. And then you run like a 2-attack Oricorio. And this will probably be like Revelation Dance +1. But anyways, yeah, really good. The last thing you can do with it is you can kind of run like a U-turn defog set, Within the scope of my team, it's unlikely because I have a bunch of potential pivots and a bunch of potential defoggers / rapid spinners, but it's something that I can do if need be. So that's Oricorio for you. Really excited to use them. Next we have Credilli. Funny story about this one, I actually did not intend to pick him at first. I actually picked Totoscrew and then Primate, which was the replacement for Machamp. And then I'm kind of going on a limb here because I don't know if this is going to work, but I thought about it and I was like, Credilli can do stuff that the rest of my team can't. Whereas even though Totoscrew is like the better Pokemon, I feel the stuff that it does well, I kind of already had in my team in a sense. So I had, it didn't really ruin my speed tiers or anything. I had Pokemon around the same speed as Totoscrew. Spore is definitely the best status move on my team. I'd say, yeah, it is. It's the best status move that I had on my team. I have a bunch of status already, so I didn't really feel like it was like super important. I had that. Once again, it learns Rapid Spin. I have a bunch of defoggers and spinners. I don't need it. And the one thing it did have that I may end up regretting is it did have an electric immunity with its ground typing, but it was also 4 times weak to ice, so, who's to really say, right? But the thing with Credilli is there is a rain player in the league. Storm Drain is really good in the sense that, it just, gives it a water immunity, and it can kind of wall a lot of that team. And I was actually pretty scared of that team looking at it prior to Grace Period when I picked up Credilli. So I hope this will be beneficial, not just in that matchup, but in, other matchups as well. It can learn Stealth Rocks, which is kind of big. It has a form of Recovery and Recover. And I guess it can learn Giga Drain as well. There's a lot of cool things to do. They can have kind of a more defensive set. You can have Leech Seed. You can even run kind of like a Toxic Stall set, which is not. I'm sure the league will love this, but yeah, you can run a Toxic Stall set. And then you can run both. I guess here's another thing. It's just like Lightbird, and then one of my other mons I haven't named yet. It has both the same attack and special attack. So you can kind of, if you're attacking moves, you can run kind of physical or special, depending on what you need. And then lastly, probably not, it's never going to happen, to be honest, probably, but I could run kind of like a setup like Swords Dance, like a bulky Swords Dance set with Recover plus, Seed Bomb and can I learn Stone Edge? Yeah, like Stone Edge or something, right? And then with this set, you can kind of run leftovers. You can run a Rocky Helmet if you're playing a more tanky set. This kind of has a lot of options, and I don't know. I'm quietly confident this will be a good decision for my team. So, really excited for Credilli. This is probably the one I'm actually least certain about, but I have Cleavor on my team. He is an 11-pointer, and as I said earlier, 12 points is the highest point total for a Pokemon in this league. So I spent a pretty penny on him, right? And I'm not really sure how good he's going to be, to be honest. The reason I drafted him is he has immediate power, which a lot of my team doesn't. So I can kind of just put a choice item on him, or I can just send him out swinging, right? I have a lot of decent setup mons, and I have some good kind of bulkier tank mons. But I feel like this is kind of like the dedicated, hit you in the face kind of Pokemon. And he has one amazing ability in Sharpness, and then Sheer Force is a good ability as well, but I feel like it's just going to come up less because a lot of his moves that you're going to want to use proc with Sharpness. It gives X Scissor, and it gives Stone Axe, and it gives, if you really wanted to, Aerial Ace or Psycho Cut or something. It's like a free choice band, right? Because it gives it 1.5 times more power. Stone Axe is broken, obviously. It's just Stealth Rocks with that does damage, which is crazy considering, most teams have a rocker, so might as well have a rocker that does damage, right? But yeah, kind of the basic set is kind of like a choice scarf set with 3 moves and then U-turn for pivoting. You can also run, this is definitely the most common set. You can also run kind of, what am I doing? You can run like a swords dance set if you wanted to. Because he already has amazing power, base 135. If you can get a swords dance off safely, he's doing a lot of damage to, anything in his path, right? He also can learn close combat, which is also, obviously really good for coverage, right? For against like steel types and whatnot. But yeah, we have that. You can also go for a really risky kind of double dance set. This I don't think they're really coming up because it just takes too much, right? And he's not like a super bulky Pokemon, so it's not, and he doesn't really have like recovery either, so it's probably not advisable to do this, but it's just like, it is something. Oh wait, no, he does have recovery, sorry. I forgot about Nat Dex. Yeah, he has Roost and he has Mooring Sun as well, I guess. But yeah, I guess you can run like a, I don't know. Yeah, this isn't very good. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, you can run kind of a double dance set if need be. But usually it's going to be kind of swords dance against a slower team, right? And then dropping agility for an attack move. And for this set, you can run kind of a life orb, or if you're not really certain, you can get a swords dance up. You may be willing to sacrifice some power for like a resist berry, like a Pasha berry, whatever you need, right, against the enemy team. And lastly, this is, once again, it's a role that's very popular in my team, so I'm not sure if I'll do it, but I can run kind of like a bulky defog, roost, knockoff, like U-turn, heavy-duty boots, like kind of pivot Cleavor, but I really feel like, especially within the scope of my team, that's kind of, it's not using his best qualities, right? So I'm not really going to be considering that too much, but it's there if for whatever reason I change my mind and I need it. Anyways, go on to my next mon and my next Terra Captain. Can't spell. Is Emolga. Pretty terrible. Pretty bad stats just in general. Does have same attack and special attack, so you can kind of pick and choose there as well. Good ability in motor drive. It just gives me an electric electric immunity. Sorry, which is very helpful considering I got rid of Totoscroll. This is going to be probably a more kind of. This is kind of like the role I was telling you about Cleaver. It's kind of like a defog, like a U-turn / volt switch pivot. And it can learn stuff like Encore. It can have knockoff. It can give you you can have an attacking move if need be. But here's kind of the bread and butter of this set. Nuzzle's a really good move. And with your pivot, you're probably gonna be looking at something like this, and then, sure. I just happen to have physical moves, so we're gonna do 4 physical attack. We're gonna do a defensive stat. But anyways, yeah, this move's insane. It is a 100% accurate T-Wave that does damage, so that's really good. And kind of going off what I was saying earlier, just picture a world where I nuzzle 2 or 3 Pokemon on the enemy team, send them a champ, T-punch them. Now they're paralyzed and confused, and the enemy's just not having a fun time after that, right? So yeah, just kind of further combos with some of my other team, or some of the other Pokemon on my team, and then obviously Paralysis just to facilitate more setups and stuff. It's just, I feel like it's just a utility mon that fits nicely into the team. And its Terra typing is Flying, Steel, and Water. Flying over Electric because Flying is 2 weaknesses in Rock and Electric, and I just got rid of 1 because I have Motor Drive, so it's only weak to Rock. And then the other ones are just kind of solid defensive typings altogether. So there's a Molga for you guys. And my last Pokemon is going to be Reverum. So this is my grounded poison type, and it is also, once again, kind of going off like Quiver Dance. It has an insane boosting move in Shift Gear. It's an agility plus it gives me an attack. So that's obviously insane. So you're probably going to run like, Shift Gear plus your 2 stat moves plus, temper flare or whatever you may need, right? Its abilities are both good, but you're probably using filter, I'd say like 90% of the time. Maybe if they're running like a spore user or something that you feel can like status you that overcoat can deny, you might want to use overcoat. But filter is going to be really helpful. Unfortunately, because you do have a 4 times weakness to ground type moves, you're probably running air balloon on this thing a lot of the time because ground type moves are pretty widely distributed as well. But yeah, this gives you a turn to set up, and then obviously like the off chance of like some fire type move or something. Filter can deal with it reasonably well. You're probably not getting one shot at least. So yeah, decent mon. This one I am a little iffy on as well, but I think it'll be good. It's a good physical sweeper, whereas Oricoria is kind of my special sweeper. And yeah, I guess one other thing I could mention is like you could run kind of like a choice like parting shot set. Once again, kind of overlaps with the roles a little bit of Incineroar, but still probably pretty good. It can run Haze, it can run, a few other kind of support options, but obviously the main thing is it's just a sweeper, right? You can run T-Spikes and stuff. But yeah, there's my team. I am, cautiously optimistic about it, and yeah, hopefully I won't have to repeat last season and use like all 5 of my free agency trades in like the first 3 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm kind of liking the team. I feel like it's a kind of a jack of all trades team, and you know what they say, a jack of all trades, master of none is often better than the master of one. So hopefully this will carry me to at least playoffs, and we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, this is my first video too, so I'm excited to be posting this, and yeah, I'm excited to face you all in the draft league, and to anyone who's watching this on the draft league, yeah, I don't really know what to say. Hello. But yeah, anyways, guys, Joe Mama signing out. Peace.